In a number of different places, wild boars have evolved from being a nuisance that can be controlled to being a significant ecological matter of concern. Despite major investments in control measures, such as steel traps, government financing, and local efforts by agricultural communities, their development has accelerated. This is despite the fact that they were once only a localized concern. Their number continues to expand night after night, leaving havoc in their path as they do so. The rapid expansion of this problem poses an important question. Why has it been so difficult to control this invasive species? Despite the fact that millions of dollars have been spent and decades of organized efforts have been directed, it has been suggested by a number of specialists that the techniques that are now being used would not only be useless, but might also be unintentionally contributing to the issue. Despite the fact that sophisticated trapping technology is used in many instances, the animals that are being targeted appear to quickly adapt, leaving behind damaged farmland and crops that have been destroyed. These occurrences call attention to a more fundamental problem in the conventional methods of control. Wild boars have now acquired the distinction of being one of the invasive species that have caused the most damage to the United States during the course of its history. The number of people living in these states has expanded dramatically, going from roughly 2 million in 1990 to nearly 9 million in 2019, and they now reside in at least 39 states. Nevertheless, the tendency is not exclusive to the United States of America. Agriculture and environmental issues are being faced by countries such as Australia, Germany, and Spain, who are all experiencing comparable difficulties. This has a catastrophic impact on the economy. Only in the United States of America, wild boars are believed to be responsible for losses amounting to up to $1.50 billion annually. The remarkable pace of reproduction that these animals exhibit is one of the factors that makes them particularly challenging to handle. If the wild boar population is not reduced by at least 60% on a yearly basis, according to the estimates of the researchers, their numbers will continue to increase at an exponential rate. It is possible that ecosystems will suffer long-term and permanent impacts if proper action is not taken. The roots of this problem can be traced back to the arrival of domestic pigs in the Americas by European settlers, which occurred several centuries ago. A few of them were eventually released into the wild for the sake of sport hunting. These animals eventually became wild and evolved into copies of their domesticated relatives that were faster, stronger, and more resilient. This development occurred over the course of time as they adapted to their environment. In today's world, they are frequently referred to as one of the most advanced invasive threats, as they exhibit agility, intelligence, and adaptability. Significant management efforts have been put into place by the United States Department of Agriculture in conjunction with state agencies in response to the increasing number of these organisms. The most prominent of these attempts is the utilization of steel corral traps that are designed to capture entire groups of wild pigs at the same time. These traps are designed to be used in conjunction with experimental poisons and airborne operations. The wild boars have proven to be tough to defeat, despite the fact that these efforts have been quite extensive and sophisticated. Not the traps themselves, but rather the manner in which they are utilized, it constitute the primary obstacle. Wild boars are taught to detect and avoid traps by a significant number of landowners and trappers without their knowledge. Not only does each unsuccessful attempt result in fewer possible captures, but it also causes animals to become more vigilant and cautious. The consequence of this is that these boars learn quickly and adopt new behaviors in order to avoid being influenced by humans. It is a common misconception that wild boars lack intelligence. Nevertheless, this is not the case. The fact that they have a highly developed memory enables them to recall the placements of traps for extended periods of time. Since they are emotionally sensitive, they are able to recognize tension and worry in their captured peers. Additionally, Because they are able to adapt behaviorally, they are able to shift their travel paths overnight in the event that a threat is identified. In order to enhance efficiency, specialists have highlighted a number of essential best practices in the trapping process. To begin, the size of the trap is quite important. It is recommended that corral traps have a circle of 30 to 40 feet in order to completely enclose a sounder. For the purpose of preventing escape, the height of the trap should be at least 5 feet, and its structure should be made out of sturdy materials, such as steel panels, rather than lightweight nets. Second, compared to manual triggers, remote-controlled trapdoors provide you with a higher level of precision. Capture rates are greatly improved when operators are given the ability to monitor the group and allow the gate to be closed only when the majority of the animals are trapped within. Third, the positioning of the trap is fundamental. Studies conducted by organizations such as Texas A&M University indicate that the placement of a trap is frequently more significant than the design of the trap itself. Sites that are successful are often situated in close proximity to water supplies or along travel routes that are frequently traversed. These sites can be identified by evidence such as hoofprints or disturbed soil. A further important strategy is known as pre-baiting. It is recommended that bait be placed in the area for a period of 3 to 7 days prior to closing any trap. This will help build a sense of safety and routine. The objective is to incentivize the animals to return on a regular basis, which will help make it simpler to capture them. The powerful odor and lovely appearance of fermented maize are 2 reasons why it is frequently used. Other choices include overripe fruits or feed that is strong in protein, particularly during the months when the weather is dry. The fact that a landowner was able to successfully trap 28 wild boars in a single night by placing fermented maize beside a creek is an example that demonstrates the significance of being prepared and having patience. On the other hand, even with the best possible trap design and baiting, the majority of failures are the product of human error. When a trap is closed too soon, before the majority of a sounder has entered, it can decrease the likelihood of success and raise the likelihood of avoiding traps in subsequent tries. It is also possible that animals that have been captured and left inside for an extended period of time will make distress sounds, which will notify other animals and reduce the possibility of more captures. Due to the fact that wild boars are known to recall and avoid sites that they connect with danger, traps that are kept in the same spot for an extended period of time may cause them to experience avoidance behavior. The animals, therefore, have the opportunity to adjust and enhance their evasion techniques whenever they make a mistake in their calculations. It is possible that wild boars will continue to develop into a long-term presence that is nearly impossible to control across North America if more intelligent and consistent procedures are not used. There are currently tests being conducted on new technology, such as the utilization of drones for monitoring and tracking purposes, as well as specialized poisons such as kaput. In spite of this, significant advancement is contingent upon the broad acceptance of improved trapping and management tactics among landowners, farmers, and wildlife specialists alike. The overarching message is quite clear. It is vital to have a solid grasp of the behavior and intelligence of wild boars in order to develop successful ways of disease control. It is likely that it is still possible to prevent the spread of this powerful invasive species via the use of teamwork, education, and further strategic planning. This might be done before the damage that is caused by this species becomes irreparable.